go to 360 degrees. Now it's time we go the 180. You don't have to climb the highest mountains, for all you're looking for is within you. Open the eyes of your mind, your ears and mouth, as I sing my song. Open the eyes of your mind, your ears and mouth, as you hear my words. Oh, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-dee, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-dee. I'll be waiting, I'll be home. Ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-dee, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-dee. I'll be waiting, I'll be. We still live in yesterday. Many today the waste away, but nevertheless it's never late. Oh, see the times have changed. I thought you knew that these words will never ever wait for you. The water's gone past times of fighting, so drop your guns and your swords and let us live all as one. We all need love and understanding, so drop your guns and your swords and let us live all as one. Oh, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-dee, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-dee. I'll be waiting, oh, I'll be. The ocean is more than just a goddess. We all need one another.
Splash FM 105.5.
All right, good afternoon and welcome to Talking Points on Splash FM here in the city of Ibadan. Today is the 16th day in the month of February 2021. I hope you're enjoying the day so far. The idea behind Talking Points is to get us talking about what's going on around us, and particularly to get us, alert and woke, if you like. The Awaken the Citizens segment comes alive today. We're talking about the civil rights in a democracy. I understand that the Constitution of Nigeria, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, guarantees in its what you call civil and political rights in its Chapter 4, just basically from Section 33 downwards. And these rights are, encapsulated in about 10 basic ones: rights to life, to personal liberty, fair trial, freedom of thought, conscience, religion, freedom of expression, movement, etc. But the question you'd like to ask yourself is, with Nigeria in mind, would you say that we have these rights encased in the bodies of our laws? And are they guaranteed indeed? And then in the mix of it, you'd like to ask yourself about the place of citizens. How do citizens interface with those in government based on these rights? We'll bring that to the microphone today. And much later, or somehow, somewhere in between the conversation, I'll be talking with Ajuri Ngilale, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Affairs, will be talking about the recently announced MSME Fund, Survival Fund, and get updates particularly on the 1 trillion Naira infrastructure company. It's Talking Points on Splash FM. My name is Michael Olatunbosun. Before I bring my guest to the microphone, a few items. The Punch. The headline here says Buhari names 40-year-old Bawa new EFCC chairman. And the President Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, has named Mr. Abdurrashid Bawa as the new chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. He has therefore requested the Senate to confirm Bawa's nomination. The special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, disclosed this in a statement Tuesday titled President Buhari requests Senate to confirm Abdurrashid Bawa as EFCC boss. The statement read, President Muhammadu Buhari has asked the Senate to confirm Mr. Abdurrashid Bawa as substantive chairman of the Economic Financial Crime Commission. And in a letter to the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, the President said he was acting in accordance with paragraph 2.3 of Part 1, Cap E1 of the EFCC Act 2004. Bawa, age 40, is a trained EFCC investigator with vast experience in investigation and prosecution of advanced fee fraud cases, official corruption, bank fraud, money laundering, and other economic crimes. He has undergone several specialized trainings in different parts of the world and was one of the pioneer EFCC cadet officers in 2005. Bawa holds a BSc degree in economics and a master's in international affairs and diplomacy. All right. The headline of that story, Buhari names 40-year-old Bawa new EFCC chairman. Okay, in a cross story, if you like, it's still in the Punch. Buhari hasn't sacked Magu, says lawyer. Tosin Ojaomo, a lawyer to erstwhile chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Ibrahim Magu, says his client has not yet been sacked by President Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired. Ojaomo said this during an interview with The Punch, while reacting to the appointment of 40-year-old Abdurrashid Bawa as the new chairman of the EFCC. Okay. The camels are coming, isn't it? Buhari hasn't sacked Magu, says lawyer. It's in The Punch, in case you'd like to find that story. Okay, it's still Talking Points on Splash FM here in the city of Ibadan. Olusegun Elemo, Executive Director, Paradigm Leadership Support Initiative. Welcome to Talking Points today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here again.
Okay, so let's talk about civil rights. My basic elementary definition, just about the rights that citizens of any country are entitled to by law, freedom, freedom of movement, expression, free trial, freedom of thought, right to life, personal liberty. I know that they are encased in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights as well. Yeah. So let's bring Nigeria into the context, particularly within the mix of democracy. How do you give us a panoramic view of the civil rights of Nigerians in this democracy?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think it's very important to set the tone that without these rights, captured in Chapter 4, Section 33 downwards to 44 thereabout, without these rights, there's literally no democracy. It's as good as just saying that we're an authoritarian system without these rights.
Okay.
Because you recall that even though I didn't have much experience of the military rule, but I certainly had some of those visuals, come back, how things were done, pre-1999, and how it was difficult for a lot of people to speak freely and move freely in the country, and some had to go on exile, and some of them are still with us today, recounting those ordeals and how it happened and how they managed through. And in 1999, you saw a situation where some of these people, started, trickling it back into the country, and some, vying for political offices, and the likes. But it is now sad and very depressing that, a lot of people who had that same experience, pre-1999, are the same set of people now, depriving, this new generation of Nigerians these same rights.
Okay.
And it appears that we are fighting for democracy once again in Nigeria, and then it will. It doesn't look right. The weather doesn't look right now for us in Nigeria in terms of democratic practices.
But fighting for democracy is a continuum. It's something that you don't stop doing. Even United States of America, which is acclaimed to be one of the biggest democratic countries, you saw their experience in the last couple of months.
Yep.
And even the Grecians and all these classical countries that gave us democracy, it's in a flux. Democracy is in a flux. It's not static. So you would like to say that our current experimentation is just about 22 years.
Yes.
Now. So it's still nascent, isn't it?
It is. But you see, in the journey of life and in battles, really, you have landmark victories. When you have those landmark victories, you don't expect, except for extraordinary circumstances like you have in the U.S., you often don't hear the kind of story you heard in the U.S. Last year and this year, this January. You often don't hear those kind of stories where a set of mob, go ahead to vandalize the heart of democracy in that country. So there are landmark victories, and you don't expect the rollback, to fall behind those landmarks. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, you are having a situation where even the rollbacks are going far, far behind the landmarks. Look at the situation that happened in October 20th, 2020. If you were told that story, perhaps 6 years ago, you wouldn't believe it, that such a thing could happen again, where you could literally have military officers shoot at unarmed civilians for protesting. And then again, when you fast forward to what has happened last Saturday, where people were illegally arrested and intimidated and harassed, you will probably be thinking, what is happening to our democracy? And again, is that whether we will have a democracy standing in another few years to come, going with what is happening right now. There is ethno-religious tensions everywhere across the country. The security of the country is very fragile. Politicians are making reckless statements. It appears that the only people fighting for democracy are the citizens themselves.
Are you sure?
Apparently.
So you say the citizens themselves, as if the politicians you are talking about are not citizens.
No, they are in a separate class of citizenship. Apparently, because for you to hear a sitting governor, say that, his people should take up arms, it shows how reckless we are becoming and how dear we hold our democracy, and whether this democracy that we have right now, is truly an instrument of unity for Nigeria. And you would even expect that some who hold, more highly esteemed offices in the country, will speak up and say, this is where I stand on this issue. But, they aren't speaking up. So they are now leaving citizens, to then, and then, of course, the exodus is becoming more interesting.
Okay, Shegun, let's look at the citizens' side of this matter. Now, I want you to look at this statement. A lot of times we have quoted. I'm not sure I know the originator of the statement. They say that people get the leadership that they deserve. don't you think that because the mindset of the average Nigerian or the average citizen now has been militarized to the extent that the average citizen doesn't even respect the democratic civil rights of the other citizen?
Exactly.
So you begin to get a feel that citizens who are making the choice of their leaders are doing like for like, isn't it?
It is not exactly so.
Okay.
We have a structural problem in Nigeria today. The way the political system is carved. You see, when you run the kind of system that we run, that is so expensive, to get into politics and make something out of politics, and then you are forced to join, one of the established political structure, which similarly is what happens and obtains in other environment. I mean, there's no problem about that. That you have established political structures and you have to be part of these, structures to get into political offices. And certainly you can't have political power except, you get into these structures and win elections and then, get into political offices. But the problem we have today is that there are you see, this quest for devolution of power is still one of the major issues that we have today. And except those powers are devolved really and truly, you cannot solve some of the structural problems that I said we have. For instance, one of those structural problems is the issue of security and how we deal with security. And you often hear the governor say that on paper, I am the chief security officer. But in practice, the commissioner of police do not listen to me. Because if I have an idea to sell to the commissioner of police and I say, this is how I feel this issue should be dealt with, after listening to me, he then goes to
his boss.
To his boss.
Yes, to get a ratification.
Yeah. I say,
what's wrong in that?
No, it is wrong. It is wrong because you cannot control security in a community from somewhere, sitting in Abuja. And that's whole, and that's why I say that these civil rights, tying to these structural problems, they are very, very key. Because, for instance, we're talking about rights to free movement of citizens.
Yes.
That a northerner can move freely in any part of the country, and that a southerner can move freely in any part of the country.
That's a given.
But that these people, as they move, whether you're a southerner or you're a northerner, you must respect local laws and local, regulations.
Yes.
Now, if I, as a governor, I then feel that this is how, because of the uniqueness and, the peculiarity of my environment, I feel that this is how best I feel that my people can cohabit and live peacefully. And then I put in a regulation ratified by the State Assembly, and then, and then I ask the Commissioner of Police, implement this law. And then he says, no, I cannot, because there is a higher authority somewhere that says I should not. Those are some of the structural problems that I feel that we need to address. And it will take some, political courage, courage of those who are in political offices to really look at this problem. Because as it is today, Chapter 4 of the Nigerian Constitution as amended is gradually being expunged from the Constitution. Though not literally, but in practice. Because if I cannot travel from point A to point B and feel safe in the country, if I cannot protest freely, if I cannot express myself, and talk freely, then what else is left of the democracy?
Let's address the citizen in this matter. You say if you cannot protest peacefully, and this word peacefully has become relative, in fact, universally relative now. So how peaceful is protest that stops me from coming to this studio to present the program? How peaceful is that protest that blocks the road and says you are not going to work?
See, let's balance this thing. The same right an individual has to go to work is the same right another citizen has not to go to work or to do certain things that are within the ambit of the law.
Okay, so
what we are saying
in practice.
What we are saying is that one must not hinder another.
Take this to the streets
now, which is what I'm trying to bring to fore now. That if a citizen, for instance, feels aggrieved with the government, with constituted authority, and say, this is how best I can let my pass my message across to the constituted authority, then they feel that that's right to speak freely and express yourself freely is now infringing on another citizen's right to move freely. Yes, you could say there is a conflict of rights along that line, but the issue about who should give way is certainly not for anybody to enforce.
But the government and its agencies.
Which is true, but in enforcing which rights should give way, at that point, we have to be very careful. You see, what I'm saying is that both of them have rights. And there's no one right in Chapter 4 of the Constitution as amended that is bigger than the other. The Constitution does not say that the right to life has 80%, and then the right to move freely has 20%. No, the Constitution did not specify which right is higher than which right. The Constitution only said that these are civil rights, that every citizen is entitled to. So if a citizen decides to protest and say that I'm exercising my right, and another citizen says, no, you cannot block the road because I'm going to work, and he also needs to move freely, we have to be very careful in, enforcing both rights.
We'll come back to this matter after this commercial break, and we'll be interjecting. I told you that we are likely to interject with a conversation with Ajuri Ngelale. I gave him a promise that I'll be, interacting with him for a few minutes on the program today. It's still talking points on Splash FM. Awaken the citizens. Commercial break. I'll be back in a moment.
I won't tell you the secret of better food. Now the no chicken and classic seasoning powder. The ingredient they take make am natural by nature, like real chicken, rosemary, black and white pepper, garlic, onion, parsley, mushroom, coriander. If you knack no seasoning powder for inside your jollof, fried rice, egusi, and all other soup, you go know say flavor pass flavor. No seasoning powder, natural by ingredients. Bangba by flavor.
Mama Betty ní gbági ti gbàràdà. Ó ti gbé ti túndé. A wà ní gbági nílùú Ìbàdàn. Àtọ́júlówó aṣọ. Mama Betty ní gbági ti gbàràdà. Ó ti gbé ti túndé. A wà ní gbági nílùú Ìbàdàn. Àtọ́júlówó aṣọ.
Èrè dàbí fẹ́ máa bọ̀ ní Betty Store CWH 65 Red Block New Gbagi Market Ìbàdàn for your aṣọ ẹbí different type of fabric. Gupia lace, boy lace, atiku, dry lace, Swiss voice coral lace, French lace, Polish lace, organza lace, gèlè hair tie. Owó wa ò ga jara rárá. Àwọn ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ wa rèé 07061355556 08056998718 07060923813. Gmail wa bettymama1@gmail.com. Come and patronize us today.
Olúwa yóò ṣohun gbogbo tó fẹ́ o, àṣẹ ń bẹ lẹ́nu wòlíì rẹ̀, Prọfẹ̀sà Òjó, ọmọ lójú Jésù. Ìsọjí orí afẹ́fẹ́ ti dé. Gbogbo wa ká máa kíra wa kú oríire. Bí Olúwa ti ń bẹ tí ẹ̀mí rẹ̀ wá. Ọgbọ̀n ìṣẹ́jú ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ ni wòlíì Ọlọ́run Prọfẹ̀sà Òjó, ọmọ lójú Jésù, bàbá Ṣẹ́gẹ̀dógó. Tó fi máa wàásù gbàdúrà fún gbogbo ènìyàn láti tún lè jáde. Fún wọ̀wọ̀nú ògo titun pẹ̀lú ìfàmì òróró yàn tún wòlíì Ọlọ́run aláyé. Prọfẹ̀sà Òjó, ọmọ lójú Jésù, bàbá Ṣẹ́gẹ̀dógó. Lórí ìkànnì yìí Splash 105.5 FM. Láàrin aago mẹ́wàá alẹ́ sí aago mẹ́wàá àbọ̀ alẹ́ lójoojúmọ́. Gbogbo ìgbòkègbodò rẹ látàárọ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ yọrí sí rere. Èṣù ò gbọ́dọ̀ gba eré ọwọ́ rẹ dànù. Ó ṣe pàtàkì kó wà nínú ẹ̀mí. Láago mẹ́wàá alẹ́ pẹ̀lú wòlíì Ọlọ́run tí náà ẹ̀mí mímọ́ jó bulabula nínú ẹ̀. Prọfẹ̀sà Òjó, ọmọ lójú Jésù. Ó di dandan kó ní testimony. Tó o bá ti ń gbọ́ gbà bẹ́ẹ̀. Jésù lolúwa.
Man, guy, I I still dey rack my head on wetin to do for my babe this Valentine.
But she's an Olamide fan now. Sharply buy her an Itel smartphone and you could win a couple's dinner with Olamide.
Talk true.
Oh yes, win a couple's dinner ticket with Olamide this season of love in the Itel Red Valentine promo. Also win TV sets, Itel smartphones, and lots more when you buy any of the Itel S16, P36, or A56 series. Promo runs from the 18th of January to 28th of February 2021. Terms and conditions apply. Itel. Enjoy better life.
A fully furnished, nice and comfortable hostel accommodation in University of Ibadan, or a place for seminars and executive trainings at the same venue? You do not have to worry. Adebayo Akonde Hall suits your lodging needs and provides you a home away from home. Adebayo Akonde Hall is a 4-star hostel built in a serene environment with constant supply of electricity. It has fully furnished rooms that gives you great comfort at an affordable price. Adebayo Akonde Hall is located at Ajibode Extension, University of Ibadan. To make reservations, visit www.adebayohall.com or call the numbers 0805-699-8718, 0805-699-8719, 0805-699-8720. Adebayo Akonde Hall. Built for comfort. Built for you.
Àwọn ilé-iṣẹ́ International Organization for Migration tí wọ́n mọ̀ sí IOM ń ké pe àwọn àparàbọ̀ tí wọ́n ṣẹ̀dé láti orílẹ̀-èdè Mali láti January 2018 títí di ìwòyí tí wọ́n dé láti pápákọ̀ òfurufú Èkó tí wọn ò sì tí ì gba àbí rí ìrànwọ́ láti ọ̀dọ̀ IOM. Wọ́n ní kí ẹ pe àwọn nọ́mbà wọ̀nyí 0902-170-6377, 0907-007-1483, 0907-007-1478, 0907-007-1275 àti 0701-561-3716. Kéré o!
The king is here.
All hail the king!
The king of comedy in the ancient city of Ibadan has come with vaccines to make laughter be heard again. This time, it is going to be epic. Tagged, one next caller and watch as he would like to address all the questions and controversies around him and his brand. Featuring Omo Baba One, Kenny Black, Larry J, Apoko, Nepa Boys, Williamba, Remote, Shete, Jigon, and the international giant himself, the #1 Nigerian A-list artist. You know who I'm talking about. Venue, 1221 Event Center. Date, February 21. Time, 3 p.m. Tickets, regular, 2,000 Naira. VIP, 5,000 Naira. Gold, 250,000 Naira. Platinum, 500,000 Naira. Tickets available at 1221 Event Center, Ring Road, Ibadan. Note, face mask and hand sanitizers must be held while coming.
Supported by Splash 105.5 FM.
Uncle Dentist, what be cavities and how Colgate take they protect my teeth from cavities? Say they use Comfort?
No, dear. Now, home for teeth they cause most tooth pains will be cavity. But if you use Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection, take brush every day. The confirmed formula could help keep natural calcium inside our teeth. We could protect them from tooth decay.
Time don't reach to upgrade to the world's most chosen toothpaste, Colgate. Because Colgate locks calcium in.
And the Nigerian Dental Association, they recommend Colgate.
It's banging and electrifying. It's Sports Bang. Enjoy the best and the latest sports stories.
And Birmingham has gone. And Fulham have lost.
Get ready for logical arguments, exclusive bites, comprehensive analysis, and superb banter.
There's no better number 10 anywhere in world football.
On Sports Bang. Mondays to Fridays by 7:30 a.m. and by 6:30 p.m. every Monday and Tuesday on Splash 105.5 FM. Join us on the planet where sports lovers live. Sports Bang. Get the big picture. Get the whole story. We keep you sports on.
It's still talking points on Splash FM here in the city of Ibadan. I told you that I'll just have a conversation with Ajuri Ngilale and Ace here. Ajuri, welcome to Talking Points today.
A great privilege to be with you. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to the great people of Oyo State.
All right. Ajuri, let's quickly talk about, very briefly about the MSME Fund, Survival Fund. We were talking earlier about an update. I know that the portal was opened sometime in January. I think the portal has closed now. So what's the update now?
Yeah, actually, so what you have is you have one website that deals with a 75 billion naira survival fund.
Okay.
That is www.survivalfund.gov.ng. Now, that website has, the survival fund is not just one program. It's about 5 different programs. And so some of the programs have closed, but some are still open today. So, for example, on February 9th, we opened up 2 new programs. That was just a week ago. The Guaranteed Offtake Scheme, which in effect, His Excellency the Vice President, who designed the 2.3 trillion naira economic sustainability plan and by extension the 75 billion naira survival fund grant, basically said we cannot continue to have a situation where we are importing COVID-19 relief materials, supporting foreign companies and foreign workers, that we need to use all of the Federation's resources to empower Nigerian business and Nigerian business people. So in effect, what is happening is that if you have a Nigerian MSME owned by a Nigerian that is producing COVID-19 relief materials such as hand sanitizer, face mask, even food relief items for distribution of food relief packages, like items like rice, bread, loaves of bread, pure water sachets, spices, flour, etc. That if you're a producer of any of these types of materials for COVID-19 relief, go to the website survivalfund.gov.ng. And what will now happen is if you register your company under the Guaranteed Offtake Scheme, the federal government of Nigeria will now make your company a contractor to the federal government, and we will now directly patronize your company by bulk purchasing these items from your company to obviously provide capital to Nigerian businesses and ensure that we're able to sustain those jobs that would have been lost without this opportunity. So we really want to make sure that our people are keying into that. In addition to the formalization support scheme, which is also there. This one is for informal MSMEs. MSMEs who have not yet registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission, maybe because of finance or other issues. We are coming in and we are going to pay 100% of the cost of registration with the Corporate Affairs Commission for 100,000 MSMEs, informal MSMEs across the country. All you have to do is go to the website and register under the formalization support scheme.
So, very quickly, before I go to the infrastructure company, the last thing I'd like to ask on this matter is, can you guarantee that there will be, integrity in terms of the selection of these medium and small enterprises in this project?
Yes, thank you very much. It's, of course, a very important question given the history of this country. I think for us, His Excellency the Vice President was very diligent in ensuring that he built safeguards within the system to ensure that that's not possible. And I'll tell you how. First and foremost, there's only one road to the survival fund and its benefits. There's only one road. It's not by knowing any big man. No big man can help you. The only way is to go to the website and register organically. That's the only way. Everything is e-driven. That's number one. Number two is the programs have been built in such a manner that once you register, you're registering with an application. The application you register with, you're going to put your information there. So let's just say you're asking to take part in the payroll support scheme where we've been paying the salaries of individuals working in MSMEs around the country directly. The way it works is if you're going to do that, you will apply saying, okay, I'm an MSME in maybe textiles or something, and I have five staff members. Each of the staff members I have are being paid 40,000 naira. Then you will now submit that application. Now, once you have submitted that application, we are now going to ask you to upload a verifiable bank statement from your bank, whether it is GT Bank, Fidelity, anybody. You will now have to prove with that bank statement that over the course of the last year or 2 years, whatever the case may be, that you have paid these 4 individuals 40,000 naira every month. So we will be seeing the bank statements to verify. It is only after we have verified that we will begin asking for the account information of those individuals that we will now be paying on your behalf.
All right.
So the point here is that There's the verifiable documentation, number one. Number two, it is e-driven. And number three, all of the payments, none of it is cash. All of the payments are made by a direct bank transfer from the federal government of Nigeria directly into the accounts of the beneficiaries through use of BVN. So there's really no way for anybody to defraud the government with this program.
Okay, let's quickly go to this, the 1 trillion naira seed capital that have been, given to this infrastructure company called Infraco. According to a release from the presidency on the 12th of February, it says that the President Buhari has approved establishment of a PPP-styled infrastructure company, Infraco, and quite a number of things that it will be doing: address infrastructural deficit, finance public assets development, rehabilitation and reconstruction, invest in cutting-edge infrastructure projects for roads, railway, power, etc. Why?
That's correct.
Why is the federal government setting up this project? I thought that, by virtue of the ministries, departments and agencies, bringing projects into the budget and getting approval for them and the contracts being awarded, why do you need an outside agency, so to speak?
Yeah, thank you very much. So I want to be very clear about something. In this country, there's no secret amongst our people. All of our people know this, that we have a 50 years hole that we're trying to dig out of in terms of infrastructural neglect. We are talking in the realm of tens of billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars of infrastructural deficit. It's not just road and bridge, by the way. It's not just railway. It's not just airport, seaport. You're also talking about oil and gas pipelines. You're talking about ICT cables. You're talking about broadband cabling across the country. You're talking about so many various aspects, maritime. I mean, there's so many various aspects to infrastructure. So the point here is that we all know that our budget size is very small compared to the developed countries of the world. Even as we have made unprecedented investments in infrastructure over the last 5 years compared to the previous 40 years, there's still so much that needs to be done that cannot be catered for within the very small budget that you have as a federal budget and state budgets. So what we're doing is what many developed nations around the world have already done. We're not reinventing the wheel. All we're doing now is, in effect, we're bringing in the private sector to say, look, let's identify those key infrastructures that have not been budgeted for, right, that are not already being developed, maybe because of lack of finance, etc., that you as a private sector institution are happy to come and invest in, because you know that the population is there in terms of those who will be using that particular road, so that when you put toll there, once you have given Nigerians an 8-lane expressway, they have no problem paying toll. They have absolutely no problem. Their issue is, give us the infrastructure. Don't be giving us toll when the infrastructure is poor. But when you have positive, good quality infrastructure, our people will definitely pay 100 naira toll if they're using a very quality road. They have no problem with that, because they understand that 100 naira they're paying for toll is money that they are not paying the thousands of naira to repair their car because of bad road. So that is how it works. In effect, what we've said is, we mobilized 1 trillion naira from the Central Bank of Nigeria in collaboration with the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority and the African Finance Corporation, and we are using this institution. It is going to be chaired by the central bank governor and obviously independent actors from the finance institutions that we're partnering with, multilaterals that we're partnering with, and they are going to mobilize private capital from inside the country, from outside of the country, to invest in infrastructure that the investors know will pay their money back in terms of return on investment. Now, let me be very clear about exactly what I mean. Fortunately for us, we are not talking to Nigerians from a position of not having done anything in this area before. We have credibility when we speak. So let me tell you exactly what I mean. If you look at the Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund, where we're mobilizing public and private capital to build the second Niger Bridge, which is now at 55%, ready for completion next year. The Lagos Shagamu Ibadan Expressway, which our people in that axis are very familiar with the extent of work that is going on there. That is also going to be completed in 2022. The Abuja Kaduna Zaria Kano Expressway, which is we're working very hard on that as well. These projects are going to all be completed by next year because we were able to build a mechanism that was outside of the budget, partnering with the private sector to say, look, we need to build this infrastructure, we need to fund it, let us do it directly and get it done. And we have been able to do that. And then the second example is if you look at the executive, Presidential Executive Order 007, which is the road tax credit refurbishment scheme, where we have brought private partners like NLNG. They bring their money to build infrastructure like the Bonny Bordeaux Road, linking NLNG and Bonny Island to the mainland of the country with roads and bridges for the first time in our history. That's a 120 billion naira project. They bring 100% of the finance up front to build the road. They contracted Julius Berger, so the contractors are very excellent. So now what now happens is once they have brought their money to build the road on behalf of government, government now, by virtue of that Presidential Executive Order 007, government now pays back that money that they paid on the road, the 120 billion for Bonny Bordeaux, for example. We will now pay it back over 10 years through tax relief. So now, if you spent 120 billion to build Bonny Bordeaux Road for us on our behalf, what we are now going to do is we're going to give you, say, 12 billion naira, 12 billion for 10 years in terms of tax relief. So we calibrate it over a period of time.
Ajuri, the sense I get in this matter is, will this initiative on the long run not overburden Nigerians? In terms of if you put up a road, if the private sector, supports the putting up of a road and then you toll it, is that not going to be tolls everywhere?
No. What you want to avoid is a situation where, definitely, my brother, I want to be very clear about something. We're not just talking about road. We're talking about this infrastructure company is going to be dealing with power plants.
I know.
Gas pipelines,
of course I do.
Seaports, and all of that.
Yes.
So the issue here is this. If you go anywhere, go to the U.S., go to Germany, go to the Autobahn, you're going to see tolls there. Why? Because these things have to be maintained. You cannot have high quality roads, excellent quality, being maintained at those same excellent standards. So you're not having to rebuild roads like we do in Nigeria because things fall apart.
All right.
You have to be able to get that money back. And so I know something about our people. If you give them power, you give them road, you give them bridge, you give them airport, seaport, all these things, they are ready to pay. The issue is that you must give them that service.
Okay, Ajuri, I'd like to ask you for another time to discuss this matter in detail.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty certain you will oblige.
Absolutely. Whenever you want me, just let me know.
Ajuri Ngulale is a Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Affairs. Thank you for speaking with Splash FM.
Bless you, my brother, and God bless the people of Oyo State. Thank you.
All right, that was just a snap interview with Ajuri Ngulale. So we talked about this infrastructure company, and he has exposed, a bit of that. We'll come to this matter much later. I'll probably feel your pulse about it before I bring him back so that I'll be getting your feedback across to the presidency. How about that? Okay, you're still talking points on Splash FM. Let's return to Awaken the Citizen. Shegun, let's start from there. You heard my conversation with Ajuri there. So the federal government is, planning, they have a long-term plan to, upgrade infrastructure in the country. Bring the private sector into play, give tax relief and the rest of it. What's your own take about this?
I think it's long overdue. I mean, already we have a $3 billion over a 30-year period infrastructure deficit. So if you have that much deficit in our hands, that will cost as much as $3 billion, I mean, Ajuri also just alluded to the fact that the country's budget size itself, cannot cater for the infrastructure deficit. There are lots of things that we need here and there in different sectors of the economy, and except we'll really collaborate with private sector and allow for easy inflow of capital, because truly, if you ask me today, there are too many regulations against capital inflow. Yes.
Okay.
We have more of capital flights
than capital inflow. So if you are going to, if you truly acknowledge that you have infrastructure deficit, why not open up and allow infrastructure and allow capital to stay? Yeah, those are the things that you should be encouraging, and I think CBN should be at the forefront of this. And rather than banning cryptocurrency,
they should actually be looking at ways by which they can tap into the opportunities that crypto offers.
I get that.
Today, again, we saw inflation rising above 16%. That will further impoverish the people, put more people in poverty. It's an indication that the price of goods and services is increasing, and it has not even captured the recent increase or the proposed increase in petrol price, in pump price. So, I mean, those are the kinds of issues that we have on our hands.
Let's bring the citizens back into play now. You see, in those days, it used to be protests, or bring down the price of petrol and the rest of it. Have we come to a juncture in our national life where citizens are speaking the truth to themselves and saying, well, there are some of these things that we have to give way to before we can, move forward?
They agree on that, but they don't agree on the management of the revenue. You see, that is another issue entirely. When a jury says, yes, toll, we have to pay for it, we have to do this, yes, you travel abroad. And even those that don't travel abroad, they see how things are done. And, rational thinking alone will let you understand that if you are enjoying security vigilante in your locality, you have to pay for it. As such, when you apply that to infrastructure, if you are enjoying good road, you are enjoying good schools, there is furniture, there is all of those things, you have to pay for it. But when you pay, how are these payments managed? I think those are the issues that Nigerians have. That public funds are not efficiently and effectively utilized.
Okay.
I think nobody has any issue as to whether you pay for education, whether you should pay for healthcare, or whether you should pay for using the roads or paying for water and electricity and the likes. Yes, those are services that you should ordinarily pay for. But when you pay for it in form of taxes, in form of levies, in form of duties, in form of whatever that the government collects from you, when those monies goes back to the coffers of government and then they disburse it in the award of contracts, how are these things managed? What is the transparency and accountability mechanism in the public procurement process, for instance? How are the selections of the contractors of government, done? And when you say somebody will be, tolling a road for a number of years, what is the transparency in arriving at the number of years? For instance, I'll give you a typical example. That the web platform that will be used to issue electronic tickets for the Nigeria Railway or whatever they call it was built for one, huge amount of money. And when I heard that amount of money, I just laughed.
It's different from an NGO's website. Isn't it different from an NGO's website?
Certainly it is different. But there are many of our tech engineers, local tech engineers in Nigeria, who will build that platform for 1/100th of that amount. No, I mean, I'm starting. You see, when I heard the honorable minister, said that no, this is not even. I mean, the way he even, pushed this issue aside. I mean, this is not even the, the ministry's function. This is a private entity, blah blah. But it's a concession. It's a concession to the private company that the private company will build for this social amount of money and will recoup the money. You see, this is the mistake that we make when Ajuri says the private. Is the private, are they giving out free money? No, certainly not. And they are going to collect it back from the public purse. And it could be directly from citizens or from government itself. So let's not, play with words. When a private entity invests in public infrastructure,
it's for profit.
It is for profit. And that is why government has a responsibility to be transparent in the process of awarding that concession.
So let's assume now that the transparency is not forthcoming and citizens have the right to protest, to ask for, accountability, coming back to our civil rights in a democracy.
Exactly what citizens are asking for today. I mean, for instance, the issue about the Lekki toll gate that happened on Saturday. What were they asking for? They were saying that the issue about the NSAS that were initially done on 20th of October 2020 had not been closed. The window is still left open. The military was not forthcoming again to answer for the questions that the citizens have raised. And then you are talking about reopening the toll gate. I mean, those are contradictions. And the citizens felt, no, feel our pulse. We are saying that justice had not been delivered to the people that were killed, to the illegal arrests that have been, made prior to that time by, the SARS operatives. And, people were still coming out with their issues to the panel.
You said a while ago that the private sector will take their money back. The Lucky Concession Company wants to take its money back.
Yes, they have to.
Okay.
Really? So, if they had invested in that infrastructure, they must get back their investment.
Okay.
But not at the risk of citizens' lives. No, it certainly cannot be at the risk of citizens' lives. You recall what happened on October 20th, that there is an allegation that the LCC company put off, electricity on that spot that allowed, the officers of the Nigerian army to open fire at citizens. That issue had not been closed. That issue had not been closed at all. And there is no ruling on that issue yet. But you want to quickly rush back to start making profit? No, it can't happen like that.
So citizens want to exercise their rights, and they are asking that it's not time to allow the company to come back to business at that place because there's no closure yet.
Exactly.
But then the question of how do you get the government to answer to this question brings me back to what the pattern of engagement of citizens. Why is it difficult for the pattern of engagement of citizens to be ambiguous? If you look at social media, for instance, the commentators are divided on the way citizens are asking for their rights. Shouldn't citizens sit down to understand first what they are asking for and how to go about it?
You see, let me tell you something. The responsibility for engagement in a democracy is not on citizens. No. You see, we get these things wrong. The responsibility for engagement in a democracy is not on citizens. It is on the leaders who have been elected and entrusted with power. If I give you, for instance, if I send you something, say for instance, I give you my ATM card and say, go to the nearest ATM, withdraw, a certain sum for me. Is it my responsibility to call you to bring me back that money? No, ordinarily, rationally thinking now, is it my responsibility to call you to bring me back that? If it becomes my responsibility to call you to bring me back the money for which I have sent you to go and withdraw for me, then it becomes an aberration. Exactly what has happened in our own kind of democracy. That there are no structural platforms by which elected officials continue to engage in a meaningful dialogue with citizens. When those mechanisms are broken, the result is what you see on the streets.
Violence, today. Right?
We don't even have violence yet.
Oh, wow.
No. We don't even have violence yet.
Wow.
In order to avoid a violent scenario, particularly on this issue of security and other elements that are happening and coming up gradually, we must engage in a meaningful dialogue with our people. And the responsibility of doing that, once again, is not on citizens.
Okay.
It's on the leaders.
Engaging citizens, that would be a matter for another day. We've been talking about citizens' engagement. I would probably like to have government engaging with citizens, opening up the channels so that we can have engagement in ways that will give us solutions.
Certainly.
How about discussing that next time?
I'm always here. I'm always available.
Olusegun Elemo, Executive Director, Paradigm Leadership Support Initiative. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me always.
All right, so that's the size of the business for today. Join me again Thursday on the program Talking Points. I'll be talking about health insurance. How much of coverage do we have? And a lot of people will always say that you are just one illness away from poverty. Let's expand this conversation next on this week's Thursday. And don't forget that as soon as I leave now, about the news update at 4 o'clock, and after that, game on. M Spice already here to spice up the day. My name is Michael Olatunbosun. I'd like to ask you to do everything within your power to make this nation better. And you start by not throwing refuse in the waterways. Enjoy the rest of the day now.